The chase is tightening up. Jimmy Spencer, Michael Waltrip, and Chad Knaus are here to break it all down. We'll have entertainment, information, and humor. This Week in NASCAR is next. Tony Stewart ended his summer drought.
Tony Stewart will win it at Kansas Speedway.
While the top two chasers left the door wide open in points. In Radioactive, which is better, 2 or 4 tires? And do you know where Jimmie Johnson scored his first win?
Leading rookie on the tour, and he's going to win his 13th start.
We've got all the answers, so stick around. Win starts now. This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico. And hi, everybody. Steve Burns in the Charlotte, North Carolina studios of Speed and This Week in NASCAR, joined by Jimmy Spencer, Chad Knaus, and Michael Waltrip. Michael just told Chad that the humor was his department. Chad is not very humored or humorous right now, but he'll get there. Time to get right into our headline. Big win for Tony Stewart at the Kansas Speedway yesterday. His 4th win of 2009. He came into the pits there second, got the lead after taking 2 tires and held off a charging Jeff Gordon. His 37th career win, his 2nd win at the Kansas Speedway, the mile-and-a-half.
That's certainly a chase-defining race for Tony Stewart. You know, he barreled into the chase, leading the points. When he got there, he wasn't terrible, but he didn't show the type of performance at all that he showed yesterday. So it makes it fun, doesn't it? You see another guy. There's 7, 8, maybe even, I guess, 8 guys now that we think can win this championship. And Tony Stewart went from just being one of those 8 to maybe being one of the favorite of the 8.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. You know, Darian Grubb and those guys, I mean, to come from where they were last year at Haas Racing to, I mean, not only making the chase, but being a true title contender, I think it's incredible because everybody always steps up their game once they get into the chase. And I think if you can actually win a race in those final 10 races, I mean, you've solidified yourself as a team that's capable of winning the championship. I think it's awesome.
Well, the thing that I saw with Tony Stewart's team yesterday is they made a mistake like Kyle Busch did earlier in the year, earlier in the chase last year, and all at once he's outside looking in. I mean, he's a factor. If he does not run well at Kansas, he could say, man, my hopes are dashed. By winning, like you said, Michael, he's in it now.
It's fun because it just changes that quickly. One performance like that in the chase. Just think about this, Steve. 9 of the top 10 finishers were chase guys. You better be on your game,
yeah.
but to be the best, to win and be the winner of those guys, that makes you a contender immediately.
Yeah, David Rudiman, the only non-chaser in the top 11. The other headline, the 14 car, the race winner, of course, it's going to the R&D Center, the NASCAR Research and Development Center not far from here. The number 2 car was chosen at random. The 48 and the 5 cars also sent for a 2nd straight week after being very close to the tolerance levels after Dover. Now, let's talk about that, Chad. You and I spoke briefly about this weekend. Mm-hmm. My question, or I guess it's a question / comment, is either your car is legal or it's not.
Yeah.
What's the issue?
Well, the deal was that the cars were close. The cars were close to tolerance. And just like what we spoke about many, many times, there was some damage on the back of the cars. So that just put them so much closer to the edge of what the tolerance is.
What tolerance exactly were they checking?
Well, there were multiple.
Okay.
And there were different places around the car. You have to realize when they check the cars at the NASCAR R&D Center, they have a coordinate measuring system. And they pinpoint measurements around the whole car. I mean, there's 100 measurements or more. And it's easy to get off on just a little bit, with whether you have damage or just regular racing or whatever it may be. So we've got it set up with NASCAR to go through each week, probably for the rest of the year, to make sure that we are exactly spot on with all of our measurements. Because when we talked about it, there were some differences between the way that we were measuring, the way that they were measuring, and that put us really, really close. And we just want to make sure that we've got that in line.
Didn't you say the other night, Chad, that you have, in fact, Hendrick Motorsports has bought another machine that will help you measure?
Yeah, and we do. It's a ferro arm, and it's about $60,000 when you get everything all squared away. And we only had one that we were sharing between the 5 and the 88 shop. And typically, we would measure our car after the car was built originally, and then you would go and you race it. And if you didn't sustain any major damage, you wouldn't really measure it again, until something happened to it. And we've got another one now that we're going to go ahead and measure each one of our cars every week before we go to the racetrack to make sure that we don't. Because if you race a car 3-4 times and you get hit a little bit, or you get pounded in the in the bumper cover or something like that, you want to be able to make sure you got it right.
Now, for the fans out there, when does NASCAR give you the car back? When do they say, okay, like let's just say Jimmie says, man, I want to run that car. Mark says, I want to run that car in California. What deciphers that return? Well,
see, we go through, we're fortunate enough that we run competitive week in and week out with just about all the cars in Hendrick Motorsports. So we have, our primary cars are always a different car week in and week out, just because in hopes that we do have to go through there if we had one. So all that stuff's already put in place. We usually figure, if, let's say, for instance, the car that we ran in Dover was the car we want to take to Lowe's Motor Speedway. So we offset them every couple of weeks if there is a special car.
But when does NASCAR give it back?
We'll get it back Tuesday night.
Oh, okay.
So we could, if there was no damage to the car, we could actually bump it around and take it. So they not to Fontana, obviously.
Yeah, no, but they don't keep it for 2 or 3 weeks.
No,
okay.
No
problem.
No.
So in 24 hours from now, while you're watching this at home, the car will be delivered back to Hendrick Motorsports. Or do you have to go get it?
We will have to go get it.
And will you Twitter the results?
I will. I'm MW55. And you know what else I'll do? After this show, if you see anything that confuses you and you want to know more about, Twitter me, and I'll answer any questions starting at 9 o'clock. I love this show, and I love Twitter, and I'm going to bring it all together.
You're the man.
Cool.
Hey, coming up, we're going to have our radioactive feature. A lot of questions about 2 or 4 tires in that piece. And when we come back, the points have tightened up, as the boys said, with the 5 and the 48 finishing outside the top 5. A look at the standings next. Plus, pit mistakes can be costly, but they can also be overcome with perseverance. Kansas highlights coming up. And later, we dig through the archives to find an early interview with Jimmie Johnson. Who knew this kid would win 3 straight titles? Stay with us.
This Week in NASCAR is presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Brought to you in part by Ford. Different is good. Drive the Ford difference at your local Ford or Lincoln Mercury dealer. And by Copart.com, an online auto auction where you control the price you pay. Go to Copart.com today.
Two tires or 4 tires was a hot topic of debate during yesterday's race at the Kansas Speedway. For some teams, it worked out great. For others, not so much.
Thanks.
Here's Radioactive.
That was nice.
Radio check 1 2. 10-4, got you. Check 1 2. I got you there. You got me okay? Got a copy. 10-4.
The desire to win the NASCAR Sprint Cup that has drivers crisscrossing this country for 10 months today brings them to Kansas City, Kansas.
All right, guys. Same as you've been doing. It's been great. Just want you to know how proud I am to be part of your team. Let's have fun today, boys.
And we are underway.
Damn good start. Have a pretty good car. Kind of like where we're at here. Unless you get the car a little deeper in the track and keep it turning. Pretty nice.
If a caution comes out, we're going to fix it. Stay focused. You're fine.
Fine. Not fine at all. If you were driving this piece of right now, you wouldn't be telling me that.
You're right. That's why you get paid more. Focus, dude. P8. Big picture.
Exactly. Big picture. You should have bit them.
I'll need to be freer, bud. Hey, 10-4, bud. How much do you think you need on a scale of 1 to 10? Still a good 3 or 4 in the center.
Got a spin behind us. Pretty big.
1-1-1. Bud, we got to do a pass-through.
Too fast. Black flag. Yeah, Bob, from the picture you drew me, I thought once we left the pit box, there was only one line, so I figured I could go as fast as I want. But I must have calculated it wrong, because I didn't go over it. I'm sorry, guys.
Green flag. Biffle trying to hold off the shark.
A hell of a show, Biffle. Hell of a show. My lap time, the leader's lap time, please. 33.94, you are the leader.
He's just not going to give Jimmie Johnson an opening on the outside whatsoever. Let's see as they come up on a couple of lap cars here.
New leader, 48.
Attaboy, that tail. Thank my teammate for that. Hold on, just calm down. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Idiot, that's what's going on. I want spin here. Caution out, back it down. I'm thinking 2. What are you thinking? It's up to you guys. The only thing I'm worried about here is the 2 versus 4 here. I think we do what we did before there. Tires, 4 tires, 4 tires. Clear 1 lane, clear 1 lane, clear all the way.
Noting Stewart, the first off pit road.
49 and the 48 got 2 right there. What about the 14? Looked like he got 2 also.
As they drop the green flag, Stewart's in the outside lane. He gets a great restart, pulls out front all by himself.
He definitely got it better there.
Tony Stewart will win it at Kansas Speedway.
How about this one, boys? Proud of you guys. That last pit stop did it. You got us in track position. You won the race in the pit. You are the man, folks.
Ooh, don't you love the twists and turns that a race gets when you got 2 tires or 4 tire options? We saw around lap 150, some of the teams after a 15, 16 lap run elected to get 2 tires, others got 4. That was almost a defining moment of the race. Greg Biffle got 2 and he was gone. And then when the caution flew with just 20 or 30 to go, then that made that decision, I thought, easy for Biffle. You know, he was fast on 2, he'll get 2 again. He elected to get 4. Tony Stewart got 2, and there goes Tony to the victory.
Now, Chad, I was not implicating you as I went into that piece, but since you're here,
it was different though. You'd run a long green flag run. You would almost thought 4 would be a better call, right?
Yeah, I think 4 at the end was the right call, definitely. You know, the call you're talking about was when we took 4, when everybody else took 2 about midway through the race. That's where I made a mistake. I made a bad judgment call on that point. I thought our car was a little bit faster. Well, it was plenty fast, and we were able to work our way through traffic. But at that point, for whatever reason, I think the track took a pretty big shift and lost some grip. And once we got back in traffic, we just couldn't recover. But I think Darian made the right call for the 14 car, whether Tony helped him or whether it was just Darian by himself. And I think that the 16 car made the right call. So I think for each situation, I think they both made the right decision, but the wheels just fell off the 16 and the 14 held it together.
But sometimes when you put 2 on, your car doesn't handle as well as 4.
And sometimes it handles better, though.
But I mean, my point is that Tony and Darian tried it earlier in the race, and they saw that it worked. I think so that was why they did it. But I agree with you. I think 4 was better at the end because you saw Jeff coming like a bat out of the... Woo! Wow, was he coming? But he was a couple laps short.
He didn't have to pound anybody either. He was just coming.
No, he was coming.
He was on it.
3 races down, 7 to go. Let's take a look at the points. As Michael said, they have tightened up considerably. The top 8 drivers separated by 114 points.
Our champion can come right now from any of those 8. Everybody agree? Biffle can win this championship.
Yeah, I think Brian Vickers is done for. Then Casey Kane, and I think Carl, even though he finished 10th yesterday, he is. These 4 cars from 9th to 12th are over 1 complete race out. So, and I would say that they have a shot at it if they were racing 1 or 2, but they're racing 8 cars. So I don't think they have a shot at it.
If you can go into the last 5 races less than 100 points out, you got a shot at it. Absolutely. I think 100%, and that's going to be the key.
And you saw performance out of most of those 8 that are up there yesterday. Whoa, Biffle, you know, he looked like he had the race won.
And like you said, Michael, though, actually 10 of 11 cars were chase contenders, so you're not going to make up a lot of points.
You're not.
Well, speaking of the Biff, he led 113 of 267 laps, and he finished 3rd.
Well, this week, guys, we finally got the 16 car running again on these 1.5 miles here at Kansas Speedway. Got a really good finishing average at Kansas, but thought that I should have taken 4 at the end. That's what I thought. Irwin said 2. I said 4. Let's go for 4. And maybe Irwin was right. We'll never know.
Wow, Greg.
I think you said he needed 4. He got 2. He got beat. That was one of those. It's not really a right or a wrong, was there?
Well, but think back. A typical driver, you know, he wants 4. And think back to Dover when Greg says, "Put 4 on and win this race." And they kept insisting 2-2-2, and he said, "I'm telling you, put 4." He did put 4, and he won the race. So I think that, you know, the thing is, the bright side of it is that Roush, the 17 and the 16, did run good yesterday.
I don't think there was a right or wrong right there.
I agree with 100%.
Whatever the however the tires complemented your car, either which way you could have won the race.
All right, well, we've got some highlights to take a look at from yesterday's 267-lap race on the 1.5 miles. Guys, I'm curious, Michael, as a driver, those black seams that we see on the race car, they're filled with tar. In practice, on the racetrack rather, in practice we noticed guys got a little loose when they hit those. Was it a factor?
Yeah, you could wiggle a little bit. I don't think it was an extreme factor. It was certainly part of the plan. You saw guys running up high in between the wall and the tar strip, down low below them. So you certainly understood they were there. I just don't think it was that big of a deal. The cars would move around a little bit when you hit them, but sometimes whether you're on the tar strips or not, you come off the corner, you get sideways. So it's just, you really battle at Kansas for grip, and that's why the racing's so entertaining.
One of the things that Jimmie comments about a lot is, especially as he's turning into the corner, trying to get down to the bottom, he'll get on that tar strip that's about a groove up, and he can't get off of it. Like the car gets onto that tar strip, and it almost maintains that arc all the way around the corner instead of being able to get down to the white line. He talks about that quite often.
You ride on it, it's one thing, but if you cross it, or if you just go across it at a certain point, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But they are definitely a factor in making your car do some different things.
Hey, a lot more highlights coming up. We want to tell you about NASCAR Race Hub, a new nightly show premiering Monday night at 7:30, right before Twin. The show's first guest will be Richard Petty. NASCAR Race Hub will air Monday through Thursday at 7:30 Eastern, starting on Monday here on Speed. Coming up next, plenty of good racing at Kansas. We'll find out what the panel thinks about that and other big stories from that racetrack. Later, a preview of California. The race has a new twist to it this year. We'll tell you what that is just a little later on. This Week in NASCAR will be right back. Here's your chance to win the picture from Tony Stewart's Victory Lane. To enter the Picture of the Week giveaway, go to speedtv.com, click the show's tab at the top, go to the This Week in NASCAR page, and you'll see a link at the bottom of the page to email us. Be quiet, Spencer. Put smoke in the subject line, and you're entered to win. Be sure to put your shipping address in the email. The winner will be revealed next week. Chad Knaus says the picture is very slimming.
Oh, there's a little slide for Chad right under the bus. You were over here talking to me, and Steve got out of control over there on us.
Steve, you got to focus, man.
I am focused.
We're over here.
You know.
We're over here talking about the caster on the front of his car, and all of a sudden you're over there putting him under the bus.
Well, and it all
you got to focus.
It all started because I brought up about Burger King and the eating Whoppers.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
Let's say we move ahead in the highlights.
Lindsey Nelson is in the house.
Further action in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame leading Northwestern 44-3. Pit mistakes. The 88 team had a great car, missed a lug nut on the left rear, and had to come back in. Then Carl Edwards caught speeding. He has to come in for a pass-through penalty later in the race. 24 team slow on the right front tire. And guys, we talk about it every week. Mistakes, any mistake, will kill your day.
It's a team sport.
Well, and just look at the 88. He looked like he was the man early on. He gets behind, and you talked about it. Once you get trapped in the middle of the field, unless you're just way better than everybody, you're going to stay there. You can be a little better. That's like David Rudiman. He finished 7th or 8th yesterday. He would restart 12th or 13th, and that's where he would stabilize after restart, and then he would just start picking them off. But you just can't give up that speed at the beginning and be able to think you can win the race.
It's like a black hole. I swear it is. When you're in the middle of the pack, and even if you have a fast car, it seems like you go and you get up there and you're racing with a couple of guys and you just start to get by them, and then somebody gets on your quarter panel, and the next thing you know, there's 6 of them on you, and you just can't pull out. Every time you get just a little bit out of there, they just pull you right back in. It's a mess if you're back in traffic.
It's like when they put the bees on Winkler. Remember that?
Not at all.
The bees.
Okay, go ahead.
Nice input, Michael. Jimmy, I'm going to put you on the spot here. We saw some 3, even 4-wide racing. Did you think the racing was good yesterday?
Yeah, I thought the racing was good. I think that when you see guys get 3 wide in a track, finally maturing to where you get multiple grooves, entering, exiting. Look at this, 4 wide racing, 4 champion drivers right there. I mean, that's just incredible. Juan Pablo making a daring move. If you're a race fan and you don't enjoy that, then I guess you should go watch a baseball game.
Well, I don't really enjoy that much. Like if the Braves are playing, I'm into it. But other than that, I don't like watching baseball that much. I'm a race fan, and I was wrecked and riding around just logging laps, and to see those cars running 3 or 4 wide, and what the way that race was playing out, I was entertaining myself.
Where did the Braves come from?
I don't know. They didn't make the playoffs.
No, they didn't.
So they're not a story, really.
Twins and the Tigers play tomorrow. Okay,
That's a story.
This is an audio daily double. Pay attention. You'll watch and hear. Lap 68, Juan Pablo Montoya. He gets a caution at the perfect time because he's going to key his mic from the in-car audio. You can hear the sidewall of the tire leaking.
Y'all are crazy.
That's radio static.
I read that.
I'm telling you, that's what they said on the broadcast.
I read that somewhere yesterday.
I think they're full of it right there.
Anybody that thinks that's that.
I have never heard a tire leaking like that. I'm just saying.
Let me tell you what, if that thing was leaking and you could hear it, that damn thing would hit the wall so hard his head still be spinning.
Who said that?
Now, anyone,
we're not going to say
it doesn't matter who said it. But I've been riding around in a car for 24 years, and I've had a tire blow out before. Now,
well, you had one at Dover. Did you hear it leaking at Dover?
I didn't hear it leaking. That's the nuttiest thing ever. But let me tell you what I did do one time. I was coming down the back straightaway, and I thought, you know what air in a tire smells like? Kind of has a unique smell to it. I went, wonder what that. I smelt the tire one time, but I ain't never heard one. Do you know how loud those stupid motors are?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but for any fan out there, let me tell you something. There is no way possible that a driver could hear the tire leaking.
Oh,
no way.
End of story. Stick with us for information.
Yeah.
If you believe that, you got some bad information.
Was he got some swampland in Phoenix you want to sell?
Yeah. Oceanfront property. Wow.
Tone it down a little bit.
Okay.
Spence.
I smelt one once.
Just kidding.
As far as I can go.
All right, lap 147. Here's where the 48 comes in leading. Chad, you take on 4 tires. You go back out in 9th.
Didn't we already cover this?
Well,
seemed like we're going to keep hitting that.
I'm just throwing it out.
I mean, come on, man. I've already beat myself up for a day over it. Yeah, that's I made the wrong call, man.
Hey,
why did you make the wrong call?
I made the wrong call. Here's the deal. Track position really was important. We obviously beat that up here tonight, but I really thought that we were able to manipulate traffic pretty well, and I thought that our car was going to be able to get back up through there, and we just lost too many positions on pit road, and we weren't able to I thought we'd come out like maybe 5th. Instead, we came out like 8th or 9th, and that just doesn't work.
After the race, Jimmie said the 4 tires changed our car, and we don't really know why. It changed the way the car handled.
Yeah, I'll put some stock in that, but that's also the furthest that we had been back in traffic after the sun had gotten to full song and it was really starting to warm up. So I think the track changed a little bit, but I think it was more an aero issue.
Don't you think it's interesting that that's where our sport's at, though, Chad? You know, you can be leading the race, and then all of a sudden you restart 9th, and now you can't get back to the front. It's because it's so competitive. It isn't because these cars are hard to pass with, in my opinion. It's just because everybody's running the same speed, and when you get side by side with another car, it invites other people to come up there and be a part of the party too.
We lost a second lap from what we had been running the previous run, just because we were back in traffic. I mean, that's a lot. A second lap. It's hard to overcome.
You want to hear that leaking tire again?
Hey, turn my mic on.
when we return, I like it. Keep it up, Spence. Tony Stewart won the race on pit road, giving him clean air. How important was that? We'll find out. Plus, Kyle Busch finishes 2nd again for a record-tying 10th time in the Nationwide Series. Who beat him? We'll tell you coming up.
We just showed him.
Time to take a look at some more highlights from yesterday's race at the Kansas Speedway. Talked about pit stops a lot on lap 70. It is time for the Geico Greatest Pit Crew, and it's going to go to the 16 team. As Chad talked about, they made a gutsy 2-tire call, got track position, and came out of the pits with the lead. As we said, Biffle at 113 laps. Chad, talk a little bit more about track position. We hear clean air. We've heard about it a lot this year. Was it a big factor yesterday?
Yeah, it was. You know, it's a.
So when you made that pit stop and you got 4 tires.
Just saying.
Okay, I made the wrong call. Okay, I made the wrong call.
So you think that happened?
I love it, fans. It's not me now today. It's Michael.
No, but it really is, and there's a bunch of reasons. Okay, once again, like we've documented 100 times, this car has roughly 50% or 45% of the downforce that the old car had. Okay, so that means whenever you get any, it's a huge benefit. So when you get behind somebody, it's very difficult to get outside of his stream, his wake of air, and get clean air on your car. Clean air on your car is consistent, has a laminar flow all the way around the car. When you get in the wake, it's very turbulent and it's very unpredictable. So you need to try to have that clean air. And to break through that and get through that wake is very, very hard.
So what you're saying to me and the fans is that, you know, when the guy gets the lead, he has clear track. He does what he wants to do. How much is he gaining? 2/10 on a position? Or?
I think you know, it's difficult to quantify a lap time because it's different at every racetrack. But I think that you would probably venture to say you probably gain 25% more downforce, or well, not say 25. Let's say 10 to 12% more downforce in clean air versus what you would have in traffic.
And if you think about it, these cars are big, and the wings all up in the back. It's hard to see, and that too is a factor. You know, you want to blame it on aerodynamics, but you got to also understand if you're following a guy and he lets off at a certain point and goes in a different direction than you're used to, you're visually impaired. You can't can't tell exactly what he's doing. You can't take that corner like you want to take it. And so vision and being able to see the turn and understand how you want to attack that turn is disrupted as well. And I think that is as big a factor maybe as the aero part.
Sure.
You've been very patient tonight. Thank you for your cooperation.
Are you going to come back and ask me again?
Not soon. Not in this segment anyways. It's time for the Castrol Edge smart move of the race. It goes to Tony Stewart and the 14 team. Last round of pit stops with 30 laps to go. The 14 takes 2 tires and wins the race off pit road. Stewart got the lead from the outside on the restart and held off Jeff Gordon and Greg Biffle for the win.
How important was it for him to get 2 tires? Let's say he had been 3rd or 4th on this restart rather than outside.
Well, look right there.
The 48 car.
There's the 48. He sees the guy that won the race. He's in a position right there. He thinks he can go get it. But it just wasn't, he couldn't make that move right there. 3 wide on the bottom, couldn't make it stick. So Tony drove away. But listen, here comes Jeff Gordon on 4 fresh tires, and he's running them down. But Tony stood up and got the job done. So give Tony credit. It wasn't all about 2 tires. He got him the lead, but he didn't keep the lead because of those 2 tires. Yeah. He kept it because he was able to drive that car and keep his cool while Jeff Gordon closed in.
He's tenacious, man. He is. Tony does not give up. If he's got the opportunity to win a race, he goes to another level.
He's a closer.
And I've seen it so many times.
Yes, he goes to another dimension. It's a strata. A strata.
Saturday in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race, the humor thing, there goes Michael. Kyle Busch led 173 laps. He now has led more laps in a season, over 2,200 than any other driver. However, Joey Logano led just 4, but he led the right one, the last one.
Trouble in turn 2. Got a crash, and that is Vickers into the wall and Brendan gone. Eric Darnell trying to keep it off the wall and will.
Oh, he's down into turn 1. Yeah, he's definitely out of control right there as he tries to correct it. Brian Vickers is unfortunately right there, and it takes him out also.
So 2 guys that were on the lead lap now find themselves heading for the garage.
Just 3 laps to go. Kyle runs him up just a touch. He hangs on. Stays in the lane.
I think Joey's got him here.
Joey has him cleared, and could it happen for a 4th time this year?
Unbelievable. Wow, that's a power move right there to go to the outside. We haven't seen that work up front all day long.
The way you rebound from a crash, how about just go out and win the race? That's exactly what Joey Logano does here at Kansas.
Joey Logano, for the 4th time in 2009, is going to go to victory lane, this time at the expense of his teammate Kyle Busch.
This is awesome. From last week to now is talk about A to Z. That's awesome. I needed a win to stop everyone talking about if I'm going to be all right with after that roll, and I think this should prove it. This is awesome for this whole 20 bunch.
When we come back, California has been very good to the Roush camp. What are the chances Carl Edwards or Greg Biffle could find victory lane this weekend? Jimmie Johnson came out of nowhere to flourish in the Sprint Cup Series. We go back in time with a driver of the 48 in just a bit. Stay with us.
The smart move of the race has been presented by Castrol Edge. Think with your dipstick. Upgrade to new Castrol Edge Advanced Synthetic. Nothing offers better wearing protection. The Greatest Pit Crew has been presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
This Week in NASCAR is brought to you by Geico. We go from the 1.5 mile Kansas Speedway to the 2 Mile Auto Club Speedway. And Chad, a little difference this year. We've been racing there on Labor Day weekend. Temperatures right at 100 degrees. It starts late in the afternoon, and then you'd have to deal with the sun, then it would be dark. This time, later in the year, and it's going to be all in the day.
Yeah, and it's going to actually be in the upper 80s this weekend, too. So the track's going to be very, very slick. The transition is going to still be there, but it's going to get a lot looser. I think, Michael could probably comment on this. If you really get loose off the corner there, the track has got such a long turning radius, and you're on throttle for such a great period of time that when the car does unload coming onto the straightaways, it really tries to buzz the back end out. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be taxing on the drivers. It's going to be taxing on the pit crew. It's going to be tough on everybody because it's going to be so hot, and it is such a long race.
But don't you enjoy, it's sort of refreshing having a Sunday afternoon race. Like Kansas, we just had that. Now we're going to California. The night races are cool, but the the diversity in the schedule, I think, is what is fun for me as a race car driver. You get to go to a track and deal with some different variables this weekend. And hot. We're going to be hot from the word go until the checker flag falls. It'll get a little cooler at the end, but I don't think much.
Not much, I don't think.
I also think what's going to be a factor this weekend, guys, we saw some engine failures last week. 500 miles, California, long straightaways, very taxing on the motor.
Yeah, big speed on that front straightaway. Over 210 miles an hour qualifying. Can you imagine that in a stock car?
And gas mileage.
Yeah.
Big.
We've had 18 races at the Auto Club Speedway. Jeff Gordon won the first back in 1997. The most recent winner this February, it was Matt Kenseth, who backed up his Daytona 500 win.
A lot on the line for these drivers, hoping to find out what their cars are going to be doing the next several weeks. They go to tracks similar to this.
Well, there's a huge crowd here at the Auto Club Speedway. Green flag is in the air, and they are wheel to wheel for the first time up in turn number 1.
24 is running just a pinch faster. Watch your back, he's coming pretty fast. 16 car is coming up strong also. Whatever you did there, do that again. That's about 3/10 faster than you've been running. Great lap. Drew, I don't really know what to tell you. I probably wouldn't jack with it too much here. The track's coming to us a little bit. Oh, we got 130 left. We'll be good, man.
Trouble in turn number 2. Jimmie Johnson is off the pace.
Jumped out of gear. Jumped out of 4th gear going into 1.
We're about to find out who's got what left. Green flag back in the air.
Now, Matt Kenseth may have some breathing room, but Kenseth has any kind of bobble at all. Jeff Gordon is going to be right there.
Too tight, guys. Sorry. Bring it home, bud.
Matt Kenseth trying to put this one in the books and close it out and go 2 for 2.
So I think the Mojo is back. It's our boy. Yeah! We're going to have some fun this year.
Matt Kenseth has won here in Southern California.
Somebody's got to be hosting them hands up after Sunday at California, and you surely hope it is Roush. What better way for Matt?
Why do you hope it's Roush?
Well, because I think what I like to see in our sport is a lot of diversity.
Right.
And what I'm seeing now is the Roush camp is not as good as it need to be. But excited about how great Biffle in the 17 ran. For the Ford fans out there, I think it's going to be good that they go back to a track for Roush to come back. Let's face it. What makes NASCAR great is all the manufacturers running good, not all one winning. So hopefully the Fords will have a good day out there, and Roush can come back and run strong.
But what was odd about that? So Kenseth won the 500, the Daytona 500. Then he wins at California, and then.
Yeah, I think the next week in Vegas he might have finished last.
He blew up.
I think he blew up there, Michael. Yeah, and he blew up at Kansas.
How would you like your year to start out like that? A couple wins and think you're on top of things, and then just get you smacked right back into reality? How about take a last at Vegas? And since then, it's been a struggle for that team. But like Jimmy said, last couple weeks, Dover and then at Kansas, it was fun to see the 17 running well again.
Chad, why does a particular organization, whether it's Roush or Hendrick or Joe Gibbs, why do they seem to run well at a certain track? Is it a coincidence? Is it the setup? What is it?
I think there's a lot of determining factors. I think one of them being, you look at a track like maybe Michigan, they focus on that racetrack, okay? So the Roush brigade goes there wanting to run well, and they put a lot of effort into that. Now, obviously, Fontana is a sister track to Michigan. Very, very similar. Similar straightaways, turning radius, everything. So I think that carries over. And I think then you take that, and the flat tracks, larger high speed, carries over to Kansas and Chicago. So I think that there's a similarity between where they emphasize and put a lot of their effort because they want to run well at Michigan. I think it bleeds over to all those other tracks.
The thing is, too, about Toyota. Toyota's, 30 minutes down the road or 15? So that's a big homecoming for them, too, right, Michael?
Anybody bet Vickers might be on the pole?
He was in the spring, right?
Yeah.
We got a lot of coverage for you here on Speed this weekend at the Auto Club Speedway. Look at that on Friday. NASCAR Live, Sprint Cup practice, Sprint Cup qualifying. And speaking of Brian Vickers, he joins us on trackside. You'll see that at 11 Eastern. Up next, so who is the favorite at California this weekend? Well, 3 guys have won 3 races there. This guy is one of them. Can you name the others? We'll dive into some emails. What the heck are the crews doing here? You'll find out next. This Week in NASCAR will be right back.
250 laps, 500 miles. Cars really slide around here. You go off in the corner here carrying almost 200 miles an hour. 40 feet wide, and there is plenty of room to stretch out and really take your car wherever it needs to go.
Takes a lot of willpower from the driver's part. It's a big battle going on inside that car every lap.
Take a look at how our chase drivers have done at the Auto Club Speedway. Jimmie Johnson, Jeff Gordon with 3 wins. Matt Kenseth not in the chase, also the other driver with 3 victories in California.
Remember the start that Mark Martin got off to this year? Had some engine failures early in the season. He was 40th out there in California, so they don't have a whole. They'll have to lean on you for some notes going back to that track. They didn't get to run a whole lot.
I think they'll be fine.
Something makes me think that too.
I think it'll be just fine.
Also, you see Carl Edwards with a win there. That was a great win. And you also see Vickers always runs well on those racetracks.
Yeah.
And why bring Brian up? I think he's out of the chase, but I think that for him to win a race for that Team Red Bull, as supportive as they've been, I think it'd be a pretty good deal.
And you know what was interesting? I didn't see that coming at Kansas. He's usually fast.
Yeah,
He was
terrible.
He was terrible.
Yeah.
So.
You know, somebody else that runs well at Kansas or Fontana is Jamie McMurray. For whatever reason, he gets it around that place. He does really well.
And he is looking for a ride for next year, so he could have a good run, would help him possibly get a ride.
I need to do a promo now, Spence.
Okay, baby. Promo fans, here we go.
NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. That's Spence's baby. 12:30 on Sunday. John Roberts, Kenny Wallace, Wendy Venturini, Hermie Sadler, the handsome one.
And Wendy.
I just said Wendy.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Time now for the Z-Max Fuel for Thought email segment. Question 1, are there multiple air compressors in the pit for the air guns, or does each team supply their own, and how many are in each pit? Chad Canals?
Well, actually, we don't use air compressors on pit road. We have nitrogen bottles, and each tire changer has his own nitrogen bottle, and then there's usually at least one backup just in case something weird happens, you develop a leak, that you can switch over to that one. Now, the only place the compressors are used is where in the Goodyear mounting area where they mount the tires, they have compressed air there that's dried and then put into the tires, and then the teams will actually take that air out and purge it with nitrogen to even make it drier yet. There you have it.
All right, this one's for Spence. Why do tracks have different surfaces? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
You've already confused.
Do the teams change the tire stagger from track to track?
No, fans. This is opposite of Saturday night racing, your local tracks, where the crews can change tire stagger. Goodyear comes with tire stagger already built in the tire. Big stink at Dover. Certain guys said too much stagger, so, so that's the thing that you can't change. You change air pressure, but you still don't change the stagger.
And the reason why those guys are checking it, that's how minute you look for every detail. If you can find a couple of tires that maybe are just a 1/16 of an inch, maybe even less, bigger or smaller, you match them together, and that gives the crew chiefs another tool to use to work on their car.
Well, since I committed to our third question, I'll get to it right now. Why do tracks have different surfaces for the pit stalls and the racetracks? Some even have a different surface for the pit stalls and pit road.
Most all pit stalls are concrete now, so that when you stop on them, the jack goes up, the asphalt doesn't cave in, and then secondarily, if you spill a little fuel on the concrete, it doesn't hurt anything.
Good answer, right to the point. We want to remind you, Speed has the NASCAR Hall of Fame Day covered on Wednesday, October 14th. It starts at 10 a.m. with a special on how the Hall of Fame was built. 11 o'clock is a special on the Hall of Fame vote. 3 p.m. is an announcement preview show leading up to the historical Hall of Fame announcement at 4. The first 5 inductees for the NASCAR Hall of Fame will be announced at 4 p.m. Find out who makes the inaugural class. Following the announcement, NASCAR Race Hub will wrap everything up at 7 o'clock. When Twin returns, a look back at Jimmie Johnson's career, including an interview before he was even a rookie. What makes Jimmie Johnson such a great closer? You're watching Twin. We'll be right back. Jimmie Johnson has put up some amazing numbers since winning his very first Sprint Cup race at the Auto Club Speedway in May of 2002. How about 44 visits to victory lane, 112 top fives. We know he's going for his 4th consecutive Sprint Cup championship, but look at his numbers in the Nationwide Series. Just 1 win in 91 starts. And to say that Jimmie Johnson was a known quantity heading into the Sprint Cup Series would be, well, just not true. Now, here's an interview with him from September of 2000 as we go racing in the rear view.
I'm really not going to let any of that pressure get to me. I'm going to be in good equipment, just get out there and drive my heart out and, see where we finish from there.
Rookie Jimmie Johnson gets the first pole of 2002. Jimmie by himself, please.
The rookies, the way they've been running nowadays, from Tony Stewart to Dale Jr. and Matt Kenseth, they've just had incredible years, and hope I can just be somewhere in there with them.
Leading rookie on the tour, and he's going to win his 13th start. owns this car with Rick Hendrick.
I don't know where I'm going to fit or fall into, you know, in that group of rookies, but or where we're going to run. But just looking forward to getting out there and getting some seat time.
Jimmie Johnson gains the second victory of his rookie year.
Jimmie Johnson sweeps the Monster Mile this season.
Way to go, boys! Awesome stuff all day long.
It's just a tremendous opportunity to be involved with Rick Hendrick, the way it's going to be structured. I'll be working real close with Jeff through everything, and couldn't have a better teammate. The depth that there is at Hendrick Motorsports, I feel I'll be given just an incredible opportunity for my Winston Cup career, so I'm really excited for it.
And Jimmie Johnson makes history.
2008 Sprint Cup champion, three-peat, baby.
Jimmie Johnson has made history in equaling Cale Yarborough's mark.
Damn, that's awesome. I'm proud of you guys. Awesome year, boys. Thank you. How does it feel to be a part of history?
I covered Jimmie Johnson in the ASA series, the American Speed Association, which is a short track series. And Chad, to be honest, he didn't light the world on fire there either. I mean, he was articulate, good-looking guy, all that good stuff that marketing people like. But as far as driving a race car, he really came out of nowhere.
Yeah, you know, I hate to say it, but I actually helped him with some of those nationwide races, and I can't work on one of those cars, so we can't take that whole record and blame it on him, because I just can't get it done there either. But you know, he's the type of driver that really. And I think this comes from his truck racing days. You know, with the trucks, you use a lot of throttle to drive the truck. You really, if you watch them on speed, the off-road trucks, if you watch them on speed, they really back the car around the corner, and that's kind of almost how they steer. You know, they're almost always in a counter-steer position. That's the way Jimmie likes to drive. He likes to have the car very free and drive it with the throttle. So there's a difference. You can be loose, or you can be free and drive the car with the throttle. And he likes to, when he gets on the throttle, he likes the car to turn. The nationwide cars with the least or the less horsepower than what the Cup cars have got, and the more downforce, they just don't have that ability. So he just doesn't fit his style.
I heard that Rick Hendrick hired him as a favor to Jeff Gordon. Is that true?
Yeah, if you actually watch the new Hendrick movie that's out there together, there's a little bit in there about how Jeff was racing against Jimmie and trying to pass Jimmie with just a few laps to go in a race at Homestead, and he was like, man, that kid can drive. I think we need to put him in a race car. And that whole story is actually spelled out in that movie.
Narrated by Tom Cruise.
It's a good movie. Have you seen it yet?
No, but I'm going to go see it. I'm going to go to California and watch it.
That's good.
Pretty good, isn't he?
They're very good.
Jimmie Johnson.
Oh, Jimmie.
Yeah.
The thing about Jimmie that I think that people have to realize is that how his confidence level in a race car is very phenomenal. And I think that when it comes time, he doesn't panic, and he knows how to close a deal. And that's one thing that a lot of drivers out there can learn. You don't hear Jimmie very rarely lose his temper and things like that. That's very important to go and to have the success that he has.
All right, here's another opportunity for the picture of the week of Tony Stewart's victory. To enter the giveaway, go to speedtv.com, click the show's tab at the top, go to the This Week in NASCAR page, and you'll see a link at the bottom to email us. Put smoke in the subject line and you're entered to win. Be sure to put your shipping address in the email. We'll be right back.
This Week in NASCAR is presented by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Brought to you in part by Camping World's Destination Recreation Sweepstakes. Log on to campingworld.com/racing to enter weekly giveaways. This week, win one of $500 shopping sprees. And by Copart.com, an online auto auction where you control the price you pay. Go to Copart.com today.
Next Monday night on This Week in NASCAR, Michael Waltrip, Greg Biffle, Jimmy Spencer, and a very special guest, Richard Petty, at 8 p.m. next Monday night here on Speed.
October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I'm going to race a pink car at Charlotte, and I'm very proud the Napa car will be pink.
Good job.
Good for you.
Hey, California bound, guys. There we go.
Good luck, Chad.
Thanks.
Just 2 or 4. 2 or 4.
Yeah.
2 or 4.
That'd be important. You guys are killing it.
That was Steve.